End of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Over the weekend, I read an article about a name change of a stadium, an arena in LA. And in this article, the chief executive of AEG, who owns the stadium, made a comment. And the comment he made, I want to share with you today because it's motivated me to do this video. And this video today is about our mega dealers, 3 of our mega dealers that are owned by private equity. And I want to talk about private equity holdings in our space and how I believe if the private equity doesn't make a serious adjustment, what Dan Beckerman, the chief executive of AEG, said about the name change of his stadium will apply to the documentary channel's mega dealer roll-ups through private equity. So without any further ado, let me just pull up this slide. This is what Dan Beckerman said. He didn't think Crypto.com would go the way of Staples. He's completely written off Staples. That's what he said. He didn't think Crypto.com would go the way of Staples. We believe it is viable, long-term, and they will be around a lot longer than all of us, he said. Ladies and gentlemen, think about what Dan's saying. What Dan's saying is it's about the future. Pens and pencils and paper and retail stores, toner. Is that about the past? We want our arena to be about the future. Folks, private equity that owns these mega dealers, what do you hope the investors invest in? Do you think they're going to invest in the past? Do you think they're going to invest in print, its supplies and its services? Or do you think they're going to invest in something that can deliver the future to the present? I believe that they will invest in what they believe to be the future. We see it happening all around us every day. We see it happening with Crypto.com putting their name on Staples Arena. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to pull up a slide here and I want you to kind of go through this with me. But I believe investors will invest in things that happen in the intersection between the digital and physical world. Look at our lives, folks. We are buying furniture for our houses through augmented reality. We want keyboards on our wrist. We have our children playing with augmented reality. They're playing with stuff that's more complicated than the stuff we're selling into the marketplace. They're using technologies more complicated than the technologies we're using to give better experiences to our end users in the marketplace. Think about the EV, the electric vehicle, how we get around, how we transport ourselves is futuristic. The investments are off the chart. Think about our families sitting around using technology in our home life, the same technology we're using in our work life. Think about our friends over at Sharp with the Internet of Things, connected appliances. Think about Care AR, augmented reality for services. And folks, I'm not talking about augmented reality on your Facebook. I'm talking about augmented reality sessions that tie back into your accounting system, that tie back into your dispatch system. Why in the world do you think ServiceNow invested $10 million in Care AR? Why do you think Xerox bought Care AR? Because Care AR will change the way services are being delivered. It's expert on demand. It's the future, right? It's the future. Think about the offices of the future. Think about holograms and think about all the things we're going to see and do in the future. That's what people invest in. They invest in imagined possibilities. They don't want to invest in things from the past that they really aren't excited about. I know we're still going to print stuff, but folks, we're not going to print enough to get people excited. So when we ring the bell at Wall Street, they're all going to line up for an IPO of a copier company or a printer company. It's not going to happen. Private equity is not going to be able to take a mega dealer public without some major changes. And today I want to propose those changes. Today I want to talk about what it could be based on what it should be. I'll leave it up to private equity to do whatever they want. But you know what? On the end of the day with Ray, I like to share my imagination because it's through imaginations. Sometimes sparks are generated and fires are brewing from those sparks. So let's go on, folks. So I have on my chart here, I have some names of mega dealers and I have some names of private equity groups. I want to start out with the private equity groups. So let me get my Sharp Interactive board working here. I want to circle a couple things. So excuse me, the private equity groups that I'm talking about. We have Centennial Capital Partners. We know that Centennial Capital Partners owns UBO. Okay, we know that, right? We know the private equity firm of Norwest Equity Partners owns Marco. And we know that Sycamore Partners owns Dex Imaging through Staples. Okay, remember Staples bought Dex? Folks, I will say something today. I'm going to say it because I'm the one that said first that either Office Depot or Staples would buy a mega dealer. And of course, Staples ended up buying Dex Imaging. So today what I'm going to say is that they're going to divest themselves from Dex Imaging. It's going to happen. It's going to happen because they're going to watch my video today and do something. It's going to happen because they've already planned it. But I don't see how Staples and Dex Imaging can benefit each other anymore. Visions change when circumstances change. You know, when they bought that thing, Sandy Douglas coming out of Coke, I was kind of excited about it, to be quite honest with you. Maybe it would take an outsider to shake things up in both those worlds. But folks, Sandy's not even there anymore. And I'm not digging Dex and I'm not digging Staples, but the bottom line is, did the global pandemic change it enough to make it not as valuable as it was imagined to be before? In my mind, it has, because we haven't really done enough. We're still not integrated with a digital platform. We're still not connecting those retail outlets to the street, to the Dex Imaging footprint. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, and quite honestly, I believe they should just divest themselves of it. But don't give up Sycamore Partners, because I got a plan for you. And then, folks, you know, Sycamore Partners also owns a company called Ascendant, so I want to circle them real quick. Ascendant is a huge office products wholesaler. They sell office products, janitorial supplies to resellers that sell those into the SMB space. And so the other thing I want to say real quick is, folks, I'm talking about building a mega dealer in the United States, okay? So if you're in another part of the world, just use your imagination for the world you're in. But today we're talking about the United States, and I believe that Centennial Capital Partners, Norwest Equity Partners, and Sycamore have an opportunity to create something so bold, so dynamic, that it could get investors excited. But it has to be bold, it has to be so damn dynamic, and it has to be able to be executed. And it's going to take bold leaders. And I picked these companies based on the fact that I believe they're over, you know, $250 million in revenue. That was one of the rules. I know there's other private equity groups out there, but you know what? Maybe they could add in. They could join the party once it's built. But right now I want to talk about POA, Pacific Office Automation, out there on the West Coast. They're not owned by private equity, but they give me a nice position here in the West, right? They're good at what they do, and they're the largest. They're the largest dealer outside of private equity. I would give them that. And I'm guessing, I'm going to just use a low number, folks. I'm not trying to insult you. If the numbers are bigger, you can send me an email. But I'm thinking they're at least $250 million, okay? I'm thinking UBO is at least $250, okay? I'm putting Marco and Dex at $400. You add that all up together, we're at $1.3 billion. If POA, UBO, Marco, and Dex all came together, we'd have at least $1.3 billion, $1.5 billion worth of business right now today, with literally thousands of customers that we could provide products to and services to. I think we would all agree with that. The next thing we have to do, though, is we got to come up with a name. And folks, I'm going to pick a name, and some of you are going to get mad. Why didn't you pick my name? Because some of the names are pigeonholed. We can't call a whole nationwide company Pacific Office Automation. So I'm sorry, Doug, that name's got to go. You know, UBO, you know what? I like the colors and stuff, but I can't even say the damn thing right half the time. And so I can't use that one. Dex Imaging, it reminds me too much of a race car, so they're out. Plus it has imaging. It's pigeonholed. Sorry, Dan. But it's got to be Marco. And you know what? I just like the name Marco. And I could vision Marco across the United States as a common deliverable, a service provider, an IT services company, delivering services through augmented reality, all these things, and they all come together. I could just visualize the name Marco. So get there in your head with me. I know you're probably upset I didn't pick your name. But let's think about some of these assets that these equity partners have, okay? Ascendant, immediately, all the thousands and thousands of customers in the new Marco that I just built are getting e-commerce. They're buying products through Ascendant immediately. Immediately. That has to happen, like immediately. Norwest owns a company called Cryptocom. Cryptocom is a pretty damn big IT outfit. I suggest you all Google them. Do you ever go to these private equity groups' websites and see what assets they own? You really should do that because your mind could go crazy. What could Cryptocom do in this huge Marco that I just put across the country? How could they add to the deliverable? Could Marco help them a little bit with how they go to market? Is there any synergies there? We better find out real quick. Clover Imaging. You know, Clover Imaging is also owned by Norwest Partners. Well, the day they all come together, it would assume that Clover Imaging would be selling all of them their supplies. So I know Jim Sterkleski's probably thinking, oh, that'd be awesome if all that happened. Folks, the reality of it is the assets that these private equity groups own would be so valuable to the new Marco. We know that Sycamore Partners has a lot of retail assets. Those retail assets should be buying all of their technology from who? From this new Marco. We know that our friends over at Centennial Capital own Captain D's is a great example. Now, we're not going to have resellers selling fish door to door, but maybe all those stores are using the technology provided by the nation's largest IT services company. This company I envision called Marco. Do you see how powerful that could be? It gets a little better, folks. So we got our friends at UBO, we got our friends at Dex, we got our friends at Marco. We can start filling in with some of these other mega dealers, right? We know they're out there. They'll probably want to join this family once it gets built. Before long, it wouldn't take us long to go from 1.3 to get to 2 billion. It would be pretty simple, I think. All it takes is Centennial, Norwest, and Sycamore to get together and create a fund and do this. And make the investment, make it big, make it bold, make it badass. Get people so excited they want to invest. Start talking about augmented reality. Start talking about the future. Start talking about all these things you can do around IT services and security services in a national footprint. If you look over here at Centennial Capitals, they also own MCA, Mobile Communications Americas. Look them up. A telephony outfit, pretty big size. What could they do? How could they add to the picture? Folks, they also own a company called New Era Technology and IT Services Company. How could they benefit in this picture? Folks, before long, we could be at 3 billion really easy with a B. 3 billion really easy. But it does get better. Remember last week I talked about Toshiba Tech? And I said, you know, Toshiba Tech has this workplace solutions business group, which is where the print is. Folks, the American piece of that is like 70 billion yen. That's about $600 million maybe. $600 million business in Americas. Could we not go to Toshiba Tech? Why is it that the OEMs have to buy the dealers? Why don't the mega dealers buy the OEM? Do you ever think about that? Because we don't want their manufacturing. We don't want any of that crap. We just want to buy the top of it. We want to buy all those customers. We want to buy that 600 million, 400, 500 million business, whatever it is here in America, from Toshiba Tech. I'm not too sure they wouldn't take the phone call. I think they probably would. You could probably add it to the portfolio. We got our friends over here at Konica Minolta, folks. Let's be honest about this. And I know Konica's probably going to get upset with today's video because I'm going to say they're going to sell their direct operations again. They've already sold some of them. Just finish the deal. Finish the deal. Konica, you already got a relationship with Dex Imaging, right? You sold them some stuff. You sold some stuff to POA. Just sell them the rest. Sell them the rest. What's that worth? How would that look? Konica Minolta Direct, part of this huge mega dealer. But think about this. If Konica Minolta sold all their direct to this huge mega dealer I just built called Marco, wouldn't they also include All Covered? How big is All Covered IT Services? Tie that into the Marco IT Services platform with the capabilities from Core Intelligent. Is there any? Can they help? With the abilities of New Era Technology, can they help? Think about this huge mega corporation selling all these private equity groups assets, equipment, and technology services. See, that's something people could get excited about. That's something people would want to go and participate in an IPO about. When you stood up there at the Wall Street and you rang that bell, people would get excited about this, especially if you started including all these cool technologies. The first major organization across the world using augmented reality to fix things. Today, the majority of those customers are going to be copier-based customers. We know that. But there's a whole lot of IT customers if it comes together the way I just imagined. A whole lot of them. And there's a whole lot of opportunities within those accounts to start fixing other things, especially with experts on demand through augmented reality, through AI, through robotics. And folks, I assure you, this new Marco that I imagined across the whole United States, they're not going to be going to meetings to figure out what the next document management software is going to be. Those days are done. They don't care. They're going to be going to meetings to figure out how to service things in a futuristic approach, how to bring the future to the present. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this was kind of a lot to digest here in the video today, but the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up. I'll be off tomorrow. Most of you will probably be off tomorrow. Have a great time with your families over Thanksgiving. Think about the mega dealer I just built across the United States, and I'd love to do this. I would love to talk to the mega dealers, to the private equity groups. I'd love to meet in a secret location and figure out how we could build the largest mega dealer in the country and change the game and change it for good. So that when somebody wants to name a stadium, they can look at our industry for the name. They can look at our industry for the name. Because ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all on Monday.